What's up, YouTube? Dan the Platinum Man coming in, starting the month off with possibly the worst game I have ever had the misfortune of playing. This game is a cold turd of a mess. I honestly don't think I have ever played anything as bad as this. There are constant glitches, partial game freezes, jump cuts, failed dialogue, incoherent dialogue, the return of terrible directional dialogue, with a new twist of having multiple characters talk over each other at the same time. So even with help from the subtitles, everything gets lost. And the characters spew nothing but garbage. Yet somehow they are even worse to look at. There is not a single redeeming quality about anything in this game, except maybe, and this maybe is on steroids and having Atlas levels of strength and backbreaking labor, maybe the fact that majority of the trophies are piss easy. Supposedly, the game takes 20 hours to platinum, but I managed to do it in like 13. So let's get into the actual AIDS-contaminated meat of this putrid, awful game. So, first off, even though I just got done playing it, I honestly don't remember any of the characters' names. There's only like 8 named characters that actually show up and talk. And yeah, that's just how unmemorable they are. We have Fat Bitch, our playable character, Black Bitch, Anti-Acne Bitch, and Psycho Bitch, along with Psycho Bitch's sister, and the only good character in the game, the Dude, aka the antagonist. In Only the Future, there's also the Bartender and the Bar Rat, but they're pretty inconsequential. Also, they try to hype up how our fat MC looks in the future, as we can only see the bitch's hands, but I am 100% sure she somehow got uglier with age, just like everyone else. So, the game starts off with a long talk in a car, where we get a trophy for naming our cat in the past. We get introduced to our unlikable main character, who, apart from being fat, is generally disgusting and has absolutely zero redeeming qualities. She also has a camera that we use to get most of the game's collectibles. And this is kind of funny because the camera moves with the PS5 DualSense. So the implementation, instead of being like America's Funniest Home Videos, ends up being just like the Mr. Bean movie.
Like silver, your smile, like the curl of the sickle moon in the night sky.
Yeah, enjoy shaky footage for all of the collectibles here, cause every little movement makes the camera move. You'll also earn trophies for several aspects of the camera, including watching your forced compilation, deleting footage, getting your first set of collectible footage both from discovering the set and from completing a set, reordering the footage in a set, editing a collection after you have watched it, replacing footage in a collection, collecting 20% of all collectibles, capturing a new subject in collectible mode, which is missable if you somehow got everything in one go during story mode, marking 10 pieces of footage as a favorite, collecting 50% of the collectibles, and finally collecting 100% of the collectibles, which was my last trophy. Everything else is basically a miscellaneous trophy or a story progression one. But the collectibles are annoying, as your in-game camera can fill up with memory, preventing you from recording anything else, which is annoying as this can even lock you out of progressing the game if your camera fills up too much. Once we get back control of the character in her room, we can interact with the clock at 10:10 for a trophy. Then we spend some time alone in the woods like a psycho, while back in the future, we meet up with the black bitch who apparently now has a kid and is divorced as was fully expected. She finally came out as a lesbian too, and even in the future, she's still a total irredeemable bitch. At this point, we also need to make sure to peek into her bag in the booth for a trophy. See, apparently, the four main bitches made a pact never to see each other again after the best summer of their lives, and are now breaking that pact because a mysterious box was delivered to the black bitch, and something happened, but none of us knows what. So we have to go back and reminisce in the most hen-pecking way to figure out what the hell happened. See, looking at objects, the characters will reminisce, which means they will talk over each other and anything happening in the scene. And once 10 of these happen, you'll get a trophy. Oh, also, during dialogue, because the fat bitch is supposed to be weird and possibly brain damaged, all of the dialogue in the game has time limits on when to react or respond. And if you are silent in 3 of them, you'll get a trophy. So, the fat bitch remembers how the terrible crew met. Fatty was dropping off a tape at the Blockbuster knockoff, where Acne and Black Bitch are hanging out. And they step in during a terrible misunderstanding between Psycho Bitch's sister and Fatty McGee. This scene has a couple of miscellaneous trophies too, like being a creep and adding dialogue over the footage of the strangers, and rolling a nat 20 which took way too long. Psycho Bitch shows up too, and then the antagonist does one of the only bad things in the game, where, upon being provoked, he tosses Black Bitch's keys into an abandoned playground. Thus begins the story of how the four bitches form their coven. So first, they spend a long time just shooting the shit, getting names, and bitching about life. Then we have to find the keys, and need to set up another trophy, where after finding the keys, we have to put some cardboard over the sewer grate. That way when the keys come down, we can check them in the future for a trophy. We also take a detour for drinks, which takes forever. And we also need to eat a peanut for a trophy. Then we get into one of the top 3 worst scenes of the game, where the bitch coven forms a garage band. First, we play with the moo can for a trophy. Then, after suffering through the asinine bitchiness of the failed band, named after the game, we make our way to the woods for a hiking trip, remove a lock from a fence for a trophy, along with finishing a cairn for another, and then the bitches get lost on their way home. They find an abandoned cabin with a bunch of witchy shit inside and decide to make it their own. There's a whole lot of fluff and nothing of substance, as we still haven't opened the box in the future. Although eventually we'll find a fairy circle and start to make a blood pact, like all teenage bitches do. We pet our cat too for another trophy. Once we finally get to something mildly interesting, it's during the bitches' sleepover, where they're all at the cabin, and we make sure to follow through with the Bloody Mary ritual for a trophy. And then we find the Abyss, the source of magic and supposed horror in the game. After making some sacrifices with the black bitch abstaining, all of the bitches then get another hair up their collective ass and decide to put on an impromptu concert after the psycho bitch steals a truck from the ranch her family owns. So we are now forced to break into the same bar we're meeting at in the future, making sure to turn off all of the power for a trophy. Then, in the shittiest sequence ever, the group fails at performing, where the crowd heckles everyone and destroys the band equipment, along with getting the reveal that Psycho Bitch has leukemia, netting us 2 trophies. Let it be noted that the main antagonist, quote-unquote, also immediately jumps in to help Psycho Bitch when she passes out. I still fail to see how he's the bad guy of the game. And of course, if you were playing this game on launch, you'd have to wait 2 more months in order to finish this terrible game. Up until now, there has been one official supernatural event within the game, with a couple of crumbs sprinkled through optional bits. The box still has not been opened yet, and we have no idea what it is or what it could be. Part 2 opens up with the sheer depression, knowing that Psycho Bitch is gonna die and there's nothing anyone can do. We tell our mother we hate her, as she can't even be bothered to show up on screen. Then, once we have proper control, we play back the tape of the failed concert and for a trophy, and pause it ASAP, as for some reason, it's the loudest thing in the game, and is at a higher volume than everything else. Well, fuck my ears, I guess. We pack our box quickly for a trophy, try all of the pin shapes for another, check all of the items in the secret spot for another, call a random wrong number for one more, and interact with a book for yet another. Once we leave the house, we help the bar rat find a book in a dumpster for a trophy, and clean up the mess the dumb bitches left. Once we check the cabin again, we meet up with the black bitch, who has abstained from both the blood pact and the abyss ritual, because she's a coward. She also has the nerve to mention in the future that she felt like she never fit in with the group. Well, of course she doesn't. It's because she's blatantly adversarial and a coward. Oh, also because she's black. Helping her with the panic attack nets us a trophy, and we can continue. At some point, Acne Bitch arrives in the future, brags about her wife and kids, and then bails cause I couldn't convince her to stay. She's the only one that seems kinda happy. Oh, and obviously Psycho Bitch didn't make it. So, we reminisce with Acne Bitch about how we broke into Psycho Bitch's house, netting us a trophy for doing it properly, and then help Psycho Bitch go from passable to ugly by cutting her hair for another trophy. The antagonist gets attacked by Psycho Bitch, and as payback, the tickets she had won got shredded. So now, for revenge, we're forced into a sequence where we absolutely have to vandalize a ton of stuff. No matter what, we have to damage the shit, either by simply spray painting it or just wrecking shit, which, no matter which you pick, Don't Nod couldn't even be bothered to properly animate it. Part 2 is also way glitchier than Part 1, as seen in my footage here. And my capture card was constantly glitching out and corrupting footage. We help Psycho Bitch destroy her parents' ranch, and even wreck more shit by freeing all of the livestock, giving some love to one in particular for a trophy. After nearly burning everything to the ground, we get chased through the woods by the antagonist. Okay, seriously, this guy hasn't done much wrong. Every time something happens, he tries to defuse the situation first. insults back to the same degree as insulted, and only does some bad stuff to property in retaliation for being physically attacked. So, right now, he's looking for a girl who is known for being sick to bring her home and to stop her senseless, violent rampage. What the actual fuck? None of this is too bad. I really don't see the hate towards him. And the deer from the ranch even briefly attack him. See, the coven of evil bitches, after doing thousands of dollars in damage, hide out in their special stolen cabin, and when they're found, instead of leaving quietly, they try to hide, where the antagonist dude decides to light the cabin on fire? Now, the game has something like 8 endings, all depending on your relationships with the girls in the present and future. I had a relatively high friendship with Psycho and Acne, and with Charcoal, I had enough for her relationship trophy, but not enough for better outcomes somehow. Supposedly, this can also mean that the antagonist can become possessed by the Abyss to come for us to make sacrifices. But this only happens maybe a quarter of the time. In my version, Acne, Fatty, and Psycho attack the antagonist and murder him by chucking him into the Abyss, which then seals itself and wipes everyone's memory. The pact to never see each other again gets made, and everyone goes their separate ways. Fatty goes to Canada to grow up single and alone with naught but a cat, and end up being somehow uglier than she was when she was a teenager. Psycho couldn't beat her leukemia. Blackie got married, divorced, and is a terrible social worker, while Acne moved to LA and became a fashion influencer, but seems to be unhappy deep down in her soul. So, I guess it's a happy ending, as the Coven murdered a guy and caused thousands of dollars in damage, and ended up living miserable lives. But the game's not over yet! The box can finally be opened, and in a super slow sequence, it's revealed that Psycho's sister sent the box, and it's filled with all sorts of shit from the summer, including the camera that fell into the Abyss. We party briefly with Blackie, get a secret message to find Psycho at the Abyss, finds the Abyss, and take a step to fall in, fading to black and earning the last few trophies. Although I still had some cleanup to do at this point. What the fucking hell was this? This has to be the absolute worst game I have ever played in my entire life. The writing sucked. The music sucked. Not a single character was likable or redeemable. It's just teenage bitches rebelling and being completely out of control. Maybe the drunks in part 1 were right, They should have been spanked more. The game doesn't allow you to not be a total bitch. And there isn't a justification for doing any of it. Why do we break into the school in Life is Strange 1? Well, gee, the school is hella shady, and we take the info that we find because we actually need it for the mystery, along with some bonding with bitch Chloe. Jesus Christ. This game is so... Bloom & Rage is so bad, and the characters suck so much, they make Chloe look like a normal, functional human being instead of just a stupid, irredeemable bitch. That's how bad this game is! Why do we commit crimes in Life is Strange 2? Well, gee, everything in that game is basically a crime in some way, and we can pick the crimes that have less impact or don't hurt people as opposed to being a psycho and really tearing into. Once again, this makes the psychopath kid Daniel look normal. There is no story reason in Bloom & Rage to do the horrible things that the group does in this game. There isn't a single justification, there's no good story, no motivation, nothing. It's just a self-insert fan fiction of what some stupid lesbians in Canada wish their childhoods were like. Games like Bloom & Rage are why I absolutely don't respect Canadians in general. And this game was even made with Canadian tax funds. The game functionally didn't work. The story was awful. The gameplay sucked. The characters suck. And even the trophies suck. I can't think of a single good thing about this game. There are literally zero redeeming qualities. The most fun I've had from this game is making fun of it and shitting on it. Without a doubt, this is the gayest game I have ever played. And I mean that both literally and disparagingly. The Platinum is a 1.5 out of 10 due to the missables and finicky parts with the stupid camera, while the game gets a 0 on the patented Dan the Ranking Man scale. That's right, a 0. There is literally nothing the game does correctly. And I got this game for free with PlayStation Plus, and I want a refund for it. I don't care, I want them to pay me for having played this piece of shit. And you know what else? This game alone has single-handedly radicalized me. Women belong in the kitchen. They should be seen and not heard. They should be beholden and subservient to men in all ways. Women should not have a say, a voice, or any outlet. They must be banned from public forums and positions of any importance. The 19th Amendment must be repealed and... Hey, what are you bitches from Don't Nod doing here? No! Wait! I managed to beat off the lesbians from Don't Nod. They shall not silence me. They alone have radicalized me against women, and it is now my sworn duty to radicalize others. Like, subscribe, hype, comment down below which bitch was the most annoying in this game, and remember, only the losers that don't nod could have made a game that scores a literal fucking 0 out of 100.
Should we blame the government or blame society?
Or should we blame the images on TV?
No, blame Canada! Blame Canada! With all their beady little eyes and flapping heads so full of lies. Blame